Evening, fellow moguls in the making, and welcome to Young Money. I'm Nozi Pombanjwa, and this is the show, of course, that's about us. The ones who want to go beyond the hustle, the ones who want to break the bank. Now, tonight, it's all about finding a problem in society and creating a solution. Clive, thank you for making the time to join us. And I think perhaps it's very important for us to get entrepreneurs to understand what do venture capitalists actually look for before they look to invest in an entrepreneurial venture that is run by a young person.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share my knowledge with you. I think venture capital is a very niche asset class. And I think we look, as a venture capitalist myself, I'm a non-executive director of GrowVest, which is a Section 12J venture capital company. We look for businesses, predominantly technology businesses, that can scale, that we can take potentially to Africa or even globally. So typically what we find, and my advice to any entrepreneur, is only go try and raise venture capital when you're product market fit, you've hired a great team, you've already got traction in the market, a lot of traction in the market, and you're doing sales, and you're bringing in money into the business. What I find too often is a lot of entrepreneurs believe venture capital is an easy asset class to access, but it's not an easy asset class. You need to have reached a certain level of traction in your business before we're ready to have a conversation.
What do you look for to determine whether this is going to be a high growth business or not?
You know, I've got three key ingredients I look for, and I'll be honest with you, there's lots of others as well. But number one, the best team on the planet. You know, venture capitalists, we invest in people. We invest in the jockey, not in the horse. Number one. So have the best team on the planet. Have a team that's done it before, and don't only have, you need someone who can build the stuff and someone that can sell the stuff. So I want a team. I don't necessarily want to invest in an individual. I think it's too hard to build a scalable venture capital type of business as an individual. I think number two, you've got to make something that people want. So you've got to prove to me as a venture capitalist that you've got clients, you've got what we call product market fit, and you're getting traction in the marketplace. So your product is growing, you're getting more and more customers, and customers are coming back and buying over and over again. And the third criteria I look for is that you are able to sell whatever you're making to repeat customers and make the customers fall in love with what you're selling. So they come back and they buy over and over again. Then I know you've got a potentially what I call a scalable business, and then I'm ready to invest in your innovation using my capital.
The other issue also will, of course, be valuation. How do we get to what this business is actually worth, which will determine how much money you will put in? How do you work around that?
I think, you know, that's how long is a piece of string type of question. But I'll be honest with you, what I'm finding with South African entrepreneurs, I think they read too much TechCrunch. I think they are overvaluing their businesses quite significantly and not realizing raising around a venture capital in South Africa, a 5 or 10 million rand round, is not equivalent to raising a $2 to $3 million round in America. So I think that's number one. I think get your valuation right. Because I think one of the biggest turnoffs for a venture capitalist is when you're totally overvaluing your business. You'll have a very short conversation. I think what I really, and I do advise a lot of entrepreneurs, is bootstrap your business for as long as you can. So go to fools, family and friends, the 3 Fs. The family and the friends love you, so hopefully they'll give you money. I don't know about the fools. But get money, bootstrap as long as you can from your savings, get a bit of debt, go get DFI funding if you can, but only go to the venture capitalist when you've shown those ingredients that I spoke about before. Because else really you're wasting your own time. And more importantly, you're wasting my time.
How does it work when it comes to equity and shareholder conversations when a venture capitalist comes in with a significant input into the business?
Well, I think, you know, that's what my advice is to most entrepreneurs. If they go too early and they do find a venture capitalist that is interested, they'll take a significant chunk of the business. And they're really not leaving the founder with that much equity. We as a venture capital company never want to take a majority shareholding, so we want to take a minority shareholding. But again, if the entrepreneur can build their business to a point that they've got customers, they've got traction, they're making a bit of money, they don't have to necessarily be making profit. As long as they're generating revenue, their business will have a lot more value, and hence they'll give away less equity to the venture capitalist unless they try and raise venture capital too early.
And of course, you said right at the beginning that the focus is around tech companies in the main. What are you most excited about that you're seeing coming up in the market and you're thinking, if venture capital is going to go anywhere, this is where the money is going to go?
I think, you know, it's a great question there, because I call it digital entrepreneurs today. They're not, you know, if you look at the world, how it's changed. 5-10 years ago, it cost probably 10 million rand to get a technology company off the ground, and it probably took a year to build the product and et cetera, et cetera. And the marketing was expensive and everything was expensive. If you look at it today, in all honesty, what I'm seeing today, and I'm working with a lot of young entrepreneurs, they're literally building a business out of a garage with a broadband connection with a laptop.
Wow.
And that is basically getting them to a product market fit. So literally off their credit card, they can fund a business, they can actually start showing that they've got customers. So it's very cheap today to get to a business, to scale, and then start getting venture capital money. So that's what excites me. I call it digital innovation. And currently, a lot of industries are being disruptive. The banking industry, the insurance industry, the retail industry, and I can go on and on and on. The media industry, the industry you're in, are being disrupted by these very innovative entrepreneurs who basically can start that business with the funds of their credit card.
Final question, a young entrepreneur, he's in the tech space, the business has been running for say 2 or 3 years, they've got other forms of funding that's already been pumped into the business. Words of advice on how to get it right before they come knocking on your door?
I think my advice to any entrepreneur, the first question is, do you need venture capital? Ask the question. You know, capital doesn't justify or validate your business. Customers validate your business model, not capital. So that's the first question is, do you need capital opposed to how do I get capital? If you do need capital, and that's growth capital, you need to scale your business. What I always say is go meet the venture capitalists, meet people like myself before you need the money. Build a relationship, tell me what you're doing, tell me what your milestones are, meet me 2 months down the line, show me you've exceeded your milestones, you're now making more money, you've got more and more and more customers, and suddenly I'm knocking on your door and I'm interested. So meet the VC before you actually need the money is the best advice I can give to any entrepreneur. And the second piece of advice is every venture capitalist or angel investor or any form of capital looks for different things in entrepreneurs. Understand what your VC looks for, understand when they invest, at what stage, what themes they invest in. If you've got a high asset type of business and you're going to a business like me, you only invest in technology, you're wasting yours and you're wasting my time. So that's advice I'd give to young entrepreneurs.
Now, South Africa's population is growing at almost 2% each year, with the population which is expected to grow to 82 million by the year 2035. We think it's important that food production or imports more than double to feed the expanding population. Production also needs to increase using the same or even better, fewer natural resources. And this is why agribusiness is probably the best place to be starting up your own venture.
Up to now, agribusiness has been controlled by big, old, predominantly white farmers, and that has been very mechanized in nature, and it has really kept youth excluded from the agricultural sphere. So we in essence are looking to make that more attractive, and normally what makes it attractive is a monetary income. And if that can be shown and the youth can see that it's actually a business that can make money and can produce big profits, then I think they always jump in.
Yeah. And the organic space, because certainly that also looks like something that's really taken off really, really well in South Africa. Are there lots of retailers who are looking for organic supplies in the South African market?
That's a very interesting question, and it's a very touchy subject at the moment in South Africa. Unfortunately, our country has not yet actually accredited organic standards. So this is what SAWASO is doing, and we are building for that accreditation. So one that we can import and export with the correct licenses, and also be able to locally do that with full consumer trust, because unfortunately a lot of the organic produce that is going around the market, especially within your big retailers, is not accredited under a recognized body.
Right.
And this is what needs to happen. A lot of it is self-accreditation, which is very dangerous to the consumer. So we're really trying to develop that mechanism so it's much more transparent in nature.
Another touchy issue, I would assume, is value chain financing. What has been your experience of that? Do you have any insights that you can share with us to give us a sense of, is this actually happening for organic farmers in the country?
Not only organic farmers, all small-scale farmers, I would say. And there is good cases, but it's very, very sparse. And I think it is really due to lack of proper support. The mechanisms and the policy is there, but unfortunately the implementation on the ground from both government and private side is not where it needs to be, and again it's due to monetary interest. So in essence we really need big development and big support from production through to agro processing, through to logistics, through to market, retail and sale, because it is where in those gaps that the middlemen are really sucking all the value out of the agricultural sphere, and where the youth really needs to take a hand.
But there's also, of course, the commodity prices, which are determined by the global market. Is this a risky space to be in?
It is, but once again, we are determined by the local or by the international market because we do not protect our local farmers. In any other country, you have commodity boards, you have cooperatives that set the prices of their produce. For example, if we tried anything of dropping the price, as for example with maize, how it is done in this country, in France, there would be farmers on the streets, tractors blocking the road, produce everywhere. So it is really just due to a lack of coordination in our farming sector that these things are not achievable now. And soon as the cooperative sector and the small-scale farmers start understanding these issues and attacking them jointly, we will not see any major difference, but it is happening.
To what extent, though, is there agricultural dumping in South Africa from other markets outside of, even outside of the continent?
I think that is very commodity specific. It would mainly deal with your meat products and your maize and your grains. And there is a bit more protection or lack of supply for the other more vegetable and perishable goods. But anything that does have a good shelf life, we do have competition. Example, AGOA, which is happening now with the chicken. So there is those mechanisms of ring fencing or keeping safe our local suppliers that is required. But again, it is through coordination and policy that will be achieved.
So Brett, you've picked up on a lot of issues in the industry, and obviously you have a good handle on the policies as well. When you become or are nominated Minister of Agriculture in South Africa, what's the first thing that you're going to do?
The first thing I would do is definitely create commodity boards, create cooperative commodity boards, create secondary marketing and supply cooperatives that are able to take that produce from primary farmers and distribute it to the plate with as little middlemen as possible. And like once again, those agro-processing or marketing cooperatives need to be owned by the farmers to ensure that they have a say in the whole value chain. I think once you do that, you will really increase the pride of our agrarian society and put a lot of kick into the rural aspect of this country to get our production where it needs to be.
Thank you so much for making the time to join us, guys. Now remember that if you want to be a part of the Young Money Show and you want the Young Money crew to come to you, all you need to do is tweet us at #YoungMoney410. Send us a question or let us know what you need help with so that we can bring the best experts to the show and in the process help you to break the bank. Until next time, let's keep it rich, let's keep it real.